It seems like everywhere you go, someone's starting a new podcast. But I'm also a huge fan of anybody starting a podcast that has anything to do with murder mystery. So there's that. And quite frankly, anything that has to do with murder mystery, I'm invested in. So here we go, talking about the new series, Only Murders in the Buildings. Let's jump into that review, folks, right now. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. And today we're going to be reviewing the series The Only Murderers in the Building, which is going to be premiering Tuesday, August 31st on Hulu as a Hulu original. Now, I first looked at, and it's kind of blatantly ignorant that I did this, but I really looked at the premise of this, and I was like, cool, something about murder mystery. I don't even care who's in it. Sign me up. And the fact that I then went back to take a look at the cast, I was like, what a trio. This is super interesting. Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. Like, the first two, yes. Or maybe even the odd pairing of Selena Gomez and the one of them. But the three of them, I was just like, okay, let's see how this goes. And I gotta say, this is the unlikely trio that you never know you needed. First of all, before I even get into what's happening in this, the fashion choices made here are spectacular. Quite frankly, I think that might be one of the best parts of this film is that the fashion game was always on point, for sure. But then I think because of just the really abstract differences in the personalities here, and even experience as well, I thought brought together a really refreshing take on something I enjoy so much, because I love murder mysteries and I love the fact of watching things and constantly having my detective hat on and trying to figure out the clues and seeing what's next and whatever it may be. But this one, I actually just enjoyed the character work and let the facts and the evidence kind of reveal itself as the plot went on. And for a moment I said, well, maybe the show isn't targeted for my generation, because I was kind of going back and forth with that a little bit, maybe thinking that this may be for the older generation because of the styling of filming in this, and even sometimes how the jokes were kind of relayed. I wasn't really sure, and then overall, as the more and more I watched it, I just gained to appreciate everything that this series came together to be. Now, another thing that's kind of important with this is that, and again, this is why I really go back and forth about who was the target audience here. The way how the score is used in this is really unlike I've seen on television in a while. It's almost old school to an extent. And what I mean by that is that the score really brought a strong presence of toning and mood throughout the scenes, and it also at times even brought a little bit of a mystery to itself, and not in a very sinister way, but a very happy and upbeat way. Which is like, okay, to be and to like also kind of talk about the score, I also felt like the score complemented the fashion. So to get a sense of what I'm talking about, the toning of it, it was really presented in a pleasant way. You know what I mean? But the fact that this story is revolved around the murder in this building is like, all right, so how does this all work out? So yeah, let's get into this. So look, you have the three of them, and while all three of their lives are kind of going in all different directions, one used to be really big in the theater, and you know that was he had a really big bomb or a tank, like it flopped. He had a project that ultimately flopped, that kind of tarnished his career, along with family issues, you know, and being in debt, I shall add. And then you have another one who was really big in television, but the glory days are kind of behind him. And then you have Selena Gomez character, which I had to reference, is that really mysterious. What are you doing here? Kind of really out of place, if you ask me, at times. But the three of them end up getting themselves caught into a murder within their building. So they were all on the elevator with a guy, And later they find out that this guy was murdered, and they were one of the last people to see him and hear his last calls and a bunch of other little evidence that they were able to find out within, you know, that short time frame. And then once, you know, they went to be the nosy residents that they were, the police closed this case instantly, said, look, this is suicide, blah blah blah, and it is what it is. But they said, you know, the facts aren't adding up, so they decide they're going to come up with a podcast, whether it works or not. But it gave them a sense of purpose here in order to really investigate and reveal all the clues to really solve this. So yeah, that's the premise of this. I think this, is there anything else I want to add to that? I'm trying to think. I don't think there's anything. I was just trying to think of anything before I don't want to spoil anything. No, that's it. But yeah, they're all living in this apartment building, and that's where the murder happened. They're here to figure out and solve who was responsible for this murder. And while all this is happening, they're also figuring out each other. And because at one point they were just same residents of the same apartment building. They didn't know each other. They may have seen each other around. One was obviously popular, so you know there was that bit of notoriety. But them coming together also had them at times questioning each other, but at the same time still trying to solve the case. So the thing about this is that, like, the evidence and the facts of everything that was kind of happening with the case, and this is in the mindset of murder mystery here, they weren't like mind blowing. Nothing really was like, oh my god, I can't believe that fact and that fact, or whatever it may be. So again, the case itself was really simplistic and enjoyable, easy to digest. But the other aspect, as I said earlier, is that the character development and driving the show through that is what was important and what was fun and what was more of the mystery than actually the murder itself, if you ask me. But the performances were spectacular, as you would imagine. The three of them meshed together in a way I could have never imagined. So much charisma in a room at one time in certain scenes that you're just kind of like, wow. The humor, some lands, some didn't, but I grown to enjoy it more and more as the season got deeper. And again, that's why I was kind of like, well, who's this audience for, you know? But either way, because the performances alone, it is enjoyable. It is worth checking out. And I think you will enjoy it. And again, this is Only Murders in the Building, which is going to be on Hulu as a Hulu original, premiering Tuesday, August 31st. Again, this is starring Steve Martin Short, and Selena Gomez, who also are executive producers in this as well too. So check this out, folks. Jump in the comments, let me know your thoughts about this. And as always, stay tuned because we got more reviews coming very soon. Big old bell.